5 years into my relationship with Liam, he gave me an epic proposal. But the night before the wedding, I caught him, completely losing control, pinning his foster sister Isla against the wall. "I'm only with her to stop her from bothering Ethan," he snarled. "Do you really want to see me marry someone else?" I had no intention of being a supporting character in their dramatic love story. As I prepared to run away from the wedding, someone grabbed my wrist. That person leaned close to my ear and whispered, "I was actually planning to crash your wedding and steal you away. Will you come with me?" The night before the wedding, I went to the hotel to drop off some games and props Liam would need for the wedding day. The elevator was out of order, and I couldn't reach him on his phone call. Left with no other option, I took the stairs to his floor. As soon as I stepped out of the emergency exit stairwell, I saw my fiancé Liam pinning a woman against the wall. My ringtone, Our Special One, was blaring from the phone he held up. I instinctively froze. Liam hadn't noticed my arrival at all. He gripped the woman's wrist, his voice thick with emotion. "You said you wanted to see Ethan, so I gave Grace an epic proposal, letting the news spread through all the major media outlets. You said you liked him, so I pursued Grace just to keep her from having any more opportunities to bother Ethan. But, do you really want to watch me marry another woman?" The woman opposite him seemed uncomfortable with his treatment. She struggled, revealing half her face. A thunderclap echoed in my ears, my blood ran cold. It was Isla, the He family's foster daughter. Isla's gaze subtly, almost imperceptibly, flickered in my direction. She barely curved her lips into a faint smile. When she looked back at Liam, her eyes were already red-rimmed. Tugging at Liam's clothes, she choked out, "Liam, I know you pursued Grace for me, but I really don't want to see you sacrifice your happiness for me. Liam, please run away from the wedding." The moment she uttered those words, the last thread of Liam's rationality snapped. He kissed Isla, completely losing control. Then, still kissing, they stumbled into the room. I couldn't hold it in anymore. Bending over, I started to dry heave uncontrollably. "Liam and I met 6 years ago. I was at a bar with friends, accidentally got separated, and drank a spiked drink. In my most vulnerable moment, Liam saved me. He took me to the hospital and stayed by my side all night. When I woke up, he gravely recounted the dangerous situation from the night before. At the time, I only felt gratitude towards him, nothing more. But from that day on, Liam gradually infiltrated my life. He always happened to run into me, and at just the right moments, he'd reveal shared interests. Even his style of dress was exactly what I liked. His appearance was too targeted, and I remained cautious. He wasn't in a hurry. He pursued me for over a year. It was during that year that my resolve slowly wavered. After all, Liam was the eldest son of the He family, part of the city's elite social circle. His family was powerful and influential, and his looks were undeniable. There was truly nothing for him to gain by being with me. So I cautiously started to engage with Liam, and eventually, we began dating. That relationship lasted 5 years. 2 months ago, Liam gave me an epic proposal. Later, I heard he'd been planning it for over half a year. I stared blankly at the closed room door, utterly unable to reconcile the man who knelt before me, vowing to love me forever, with the one who had just kissed his foster sister. If I hadn't come tonight, they would probably have planned how to run away from the wedding and humiliate me after their rendezvous. I slowly straightened up, wiped away my tears, and headed to the banquet hall where the wedding was supposed to be held tomorrow. Looking at the photo of Liam, his eyes full of tenderness for me, "I picked you." He a pair of scissors and shredded it. I turned and saw the flowers nearby. Liam had said he'd personally chosen each stem. I tore them all down. Liam had already paid for all the wedding arrangements. So, I felt absolutely no guilt doing this. After half an hour of destruction, the suffocating anger in my heart finally eased a bit. I then made a phone call and hired 2 people, instructing them to destroy all the wedding decorations before dawn tomorrow. Stepping out of the banquet hall, a cold gust of wind made me shiver. Just as I was about to leave, a jacket was draped over my shoulders. I looked up, recognized his face, and paused. It was Ethan. The very person Liam and Isla had just been talking about. He saw my disheveled state and looked stunned. "Your wedding is tomorrow. Why are you crying like this?" Before I could speak, he added, "That jerk made you cry, didn't he?" Recalling what I had just witnessed, I still felt sick to my stomach. Seeing my reaction, Ethan turned to go confront Liam. I grabbed his arm. "Don't bother. The wedding's off." Ethan stopped, frowning as he looked at me. We stood there in silence for a moment. Ethan and I had been neighbors since childhood, practically childhood sweethearts, but he went abroad after Liam and I got together. I hadn't heard anything about his return recently. So, I actually had no idea where this idea of me bothering Ethan came from. After a long silence, Ethan asked, "What exactly happened?" This wasn't my fault, and I had no intention of covering for Liam. Besides, he was indirectly involved. I told him everything I had just seen and heard. Ethan started to speak, then stopped, then started again. That's messed up. Dragging others into his own filth, truly disgusting. I forced a smile. Isn't that just the way it is? Everyone's a pawn in their dramatic love game. Ethan stared at me intently. After some time, he suddenly said, "I'm planning to hijack the wedding tomorrow. Will you agree to come with me?" He seemed a bit nervous, his lips pressed together tightly, avoiding my gaze. When I remained silent, he continued, "Doesn't Isla like me? She likes me so much she made Liam pursue you just to keep us apart. Wouldn't it be quite interesting if your groom suddenly changed to me?" I looked down, my mind racing. It sounded incredibly satisfying, but what about afterwards? What would we do? With that thought, I shook my head. "I'll tell everyone the wedding is off. Thank you for the offer." As I said this, I turned to leave. Ethan quickly blocked my path. In his haste, he started to speak incoherently. Actually, I wanted you to do me a favor." I paused, turning to look at him. Ethan spoke rapidly. "Being liked by someone like her is absolutely disgusting. So, just consider it a favor, help me get rid of her. As for what happens later, we can wait until after the wedding, and then announce our separation to everyone after a while. That way, it won't be too easy for those two, and it solves our immediate problem." He finished quickly, then cautiously peered at my expression. "What do you think?" It sounded good. But, I pointed towards the banquet hall. "I already told people to trash the wedding venue, and they should be finished by now. With money, things get done quickly." Ethan's lips curved into a smile. "It's simple. Leave it to me." Ethan fully leveraged his money power. Overnight, the wedding arrangements were completed at another hotel. Our mutual friends with Liam were quite surprised to receive a last-minute notification about a venue change. Arriving at the entrance and seeing Ethan as the groom in the wedding photos completely disoriented them. While the guests weren't paying attention, they quietly slipped into my dressing room to ask what was going on. I looked at myself in the mirror and smiled. The groom changed. Hearing this, they exchanged glances. After a long pause, one girl cautiously asked, "You finally figured it out?" I was slightly taken aback. Someone nudged her arm, signaling her not to speak carelessly. She pretended not to notice and sighed with relief. "Actually, the day Liam proposed to you, I saw." Seeing my calm expression, she gritted her teeth and just blurted it all out. "I saw Liam and Isla kissing, but it was too dark at the time, and I couldn't get any proof, so I couldn't tell you directly. I didn't say anything. It was disgusting. Liam was making vows of eternal love to me, and still found time to appease Isla. But aside from disgust, I felt nothing else." I curved my lips into a smile for her. "It's fine, don't worry about it." Only then did she brighten, continuously praising my makeup and wedding dress. Just as everyone was chatting animatedly, Ethan gently knocked twice on the door. "The ceremony is about to begin. Are you ready?" At the sight of his attire, the room fell silent for a moment. Soon, my friends made excuses to take their seats and left the room. Ethan's icy demeanor vanished instantly. He stared at me intently in the mirror. His gaze made me uncomfortable. I wiggled my finger at him. "With such short notice, where did you get this?" It was exactly my finger size. Ethan jumped, quickly averted his gaze, and looked a bit awkward. "I borrowed it from someone." I nodded, not pressing further. The wedding proceeded exceptionally smoothly. With holding my hand the whole time, my anxious heart gradually settled. Until, after the wedding ended, as we prepared to move to the after party. As soon as we exited the hotel, we saw all of Liam's relatives waiting outside the banquet hall. The moment the doors opened, Martha pointed at me and furiously rebuked, "Our family prepared for this wedding for so long. Not only did you send people to smash up the venue and change locations, but you even dared to change grooms at the last minute?" Ethan frowned slightly, about to speak, but I stopped him. I looked up at Martha. "Your son committed marriage fraud first, then eloped and ran away from the wedding. Why should I stay at the wedding venue waiting to be a laughingstock?" At my words, the family and friends behind Martha started whispering. "Marriage fraud? What does that mean? Eloped and ran away from the wedding? Doesn't that make it Liam's fault?" "That's right, if Liam wasn't in the wrong, why wouldn't he show up on his big day today? Have you noticed someone else is missing today?" The friend scanned the scene and quickly realized something. Isla, who was usually by Martha's side, was also nowhere to be seen. Martha's face turned ashen as she listened to the murmurs behind her. Eloped and ran away from the wedding? He distinctly told me Isla had a sudden car accident, and he had no choice but to. Her voice abruptly cut off mid-sentence. At this point, what more was there for her not to understand? Clearly, after Liam ran away from the wedding, he worried about his reputation, so he pushed all the blame for the wedding's cancellation onto me. Ethan let out a cold laugh. Whether there was a car accident or not, couldn't you just check the hospital records? Besides, is your family so short-staffed that the groom himself has to take someone to the hospital? Martha slowly calmed down. She stared straight at me. Grace, is it really? She struggled to say it, closing her eyes before finally uttering, did run away from the wedding? I nodded. Yes, and the reason he ran away from the wedding was Isla. Martha stumbled, nearly losing her balance. It took her a long time to compose herself before she said, I acted impulsively. And apologizes to you. Ethan's expression was still grim, but he didn't interject again. With things having escalated to this point, Martha had no desire to stay any longer and left with the family and friends. Ethan and I, unaffected, took our friends to the next location. Carried by the lively atmosphere, the gloom in my heart vanished, and I joined everyone in the revelry. But after a few rounds of drinks, some friends suddenly started clamoring to see Ethan and my marriage certificate. Someone mumbled, Ethan's such a nice prince, I want to see what he looks like on his marriage certificate. No sooner had the words left their lips than someone retorted, Ice Prince? What are you talking about? Haven't you seen him smiling at Grace all night? I couldn't resist glancing towards Ethan in the distance. Sure enough, our eyes met across the room. He quickly looked away as if he'd been shocked, then picked up his drink and downed it. Someone, emboldened by alcohol, called him over, relentlessly insisting on seeing the marriage certificate. Ethan walked over and casually added, we haven't gotten our marriage certificate yet. Seeing everyone's expressions turn strange, I quickly added, we haven't chosen a date yet. We're having the wedding first and then registering our marriage. Hearing me say that, everyone stopped pressing the issue, only saying that once we registered our marriage, we had to post it on social media for them to see. The surroundings quieted down. Ethan sat beside me, his hands on his knees, and nervously asked, what you just said, was it true? I hesitated. I think. We don't need to, do we? The wedding is already over. Ethan lowered his eyelashes, his expression unreadable. But they said they want to see our marriage certificate. What if we don't get one? I fell silent. Postponing it wouldn't work on them at all. As long as they didn't see a photo, they wouldn't give up. Ethan, observing my expression, said, we could actually get a marriage certificate for real. It would be more convincing. Once everything blows over, we can always get a divorce. I raised an eyebrow at him. But isn't it all over already? Ethan looked a bit uncomfortable under my gaze. Not yet. That guy, he, will definitely pop up again. He spoke softer and softer. Isn't this more effective than talking nonsense with him? He was still racking his brain for excuses, and just as he thought of a new one, I interrupted, all right, let's get it. I received a message from Liam again after Ethan and I had already gotten our marriage certificate. I wasn't interested in his affairs, but I heard a bit from Ethan. Apparently, after Martha left the hotel that day, she couldn't get in touch with Liam or Isla. Remembering what Ethan and I had told her, debit cards. But nobody told Liam exactly what happened. After their credit, Liam and Isla quickly ran out of resources. Liam probably thought my state was terrible after he ran away from the wedding, causing Martha to be so angry. To appease his sugar mommy, he sent me an apology text message. Grace, I hurt you, and I'm very sorry. Seeing this message, it dawned on me that I had forgotten to block him. Before blocking him, I sent him a reply, if you're so sorry, then drop dead. Then, without hesitation, I hit the block button. No sooner had I turned off my phone than a message from Martha arrived. She said she had failed as a mother and had hurt me. Therefore, she ordered Liam to get my forgiveness, and preferably, to reconcile with me. Ethan, catching a glimpse of the message, said sarcastically, bigamy is illegal. I nodded. Oh. I had seen through it long ago. He insisted on us getting our marriage certificate precisely to cut off any last possibility of me reconciling with Liam. But I could only say, he slightly overestimated my feelings for Liam. I'm not a trash can for such a disgusting person. After thinking it over, I composed a lengthy message to Martha. Aunt, there's absolutely no possibility between Liam and me, and I'm already married. Please don't contact me anymore. After successfully sending it, I blocked her too. Actually, I wasn't oblivious to Martha's little schemes. When she first confronted me at the hotel, she already knew Liam was the one who ran away from the wedding, but she didn't think it was a big deal. In comparison, my clean break and switching grooms made her even angrier. However, once she learned Liam ran away from the wedding for Isla, everything changed. She needed me to reconcile with Liam to cover up the scandal. For that, she was willing to humble herself. Seeing everything I had done, Ethan's lips curved slightly, then he quickly suppressed the smile when I looked at him. You're not foolish, you can see her intentions. My face darkened. I'll give you one chance to rephrase that compliment. Ethan cleared his throat. You're really not foolish. I turned my head away, not even sparing him a glance. Move your things to the guest room. Ethan didn't react immediately, looking stunned. Why? I smiled. Because I don't want to see you. Seeing my expression, Ethan instantly adopted a look of round innocence. 2 days later, I received a message from my best friend. She seemed quite excited, sending several 60-second voice messages in a row. Watching her voice message speed slow down, I finally opened the first one. Gracie, you have no idea how satisfying that just was. Liam probably thought you were at my home, so he came straight to my door asking where you were. I just flat out told him you were already married. I guess he didn't quite believe me, but I really gave him an earful. And in the end, I chased him out with a broom. Thinking of her past glorious battles, I chuckled. I certainly approve of your offensive capabilities. She sent another voice message. He, but you need to be careful. If he shows up at your door, remember to have Ethan deal with him and kick him out. Don't get hurt yourself. A warmth spread through me, and I sent her a kiss emoji in return. After confirming with who knows how many people, Liam showed up at my door. He instinctively tried to use the fingerprint lock, only to find it wouldn't open. He tried repeatedly until the door lock started alarming, at which point he gave up and resorted to knocking. But after a long time of knocking, no one saw me to open it. Liam was not used to such treatment. In the past, when he came to my home, I would go downstairs to greet him. Half an hour later, Liam completely lost his patience and furiously hammered on the door. Gracie. Grace. Faintly, Isla's voice could be heard from the doorway, trying to calm him. Liam, go easy, you'll hurt your hand. Ethan came out after showering, walked directly to the door, and opened it. He scanned Liam up and down. What do you want with my wife? Liam and Isla both froze on the spot. A minute later, Isla shrieked with excitement and lunged towards him. Ethan, you're back. Ethan stepped back to dodge her, a look of disgust on his face. I don't have a sister, don't call me Liam. Isla froze awkwardly for a moment. Before she could speak, Ethan repeated, what do you want with my wife? Liam finally caught on, belatedly realizing what was happening. He spoke in disbelief. Grace actually got married? To you? Isla's smile froze on her face. She denied it repeatedly. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. How could you marry Grace? She looked at Ethan, confirming again. Ethan, you're kidding, aren't you? Liam also refused to believe it. He pushed past Ethan, trying to barge in to find me, but didn't budge, while Liam was jolted back a step. Gracie can't possibly be married to you, it's impossible. Ethan didn't bother with further explanation. He pulled 2 bright red marriage certificates directly from his jacket pocket. Fearing might reach for them, he specifically opened them. See clearly? Grace, my wife, legally wed. Isla stared intently at the 2 marriage certificates, screaming hysterically, how could you marry Grace? How dare you? Liam frowned slightly and chastised in a low voice, Isla. Isla acted as if she hadn't heard, repeating the same sentence over and over. Liam snapped back to reality and tried to force his way inside. I don't believe it. Let me see Gracie, let me see her. Fearing might not be able to handle him alone, I wanted to check on the situation. But as soon as I stepped out of the room, I saw Ethan raise his long leg and kick Liam far away. Then he slammed the door shut. I stared, dumbfounded. That was so simple and brutal? Ethan turned and saw me, instinctively stuffing the marriage certificate into his pocket. I frowned. Didn't I put those away? Why are you carrying them around? Ethan seemed a little hesitant to look at me. Your best friend texted me to protect you, and I guessed that he would show up. He spoke softer and softer. Isn't this more effective than talking nonsense with him? Liam seemed to have heard my voice and started banging on the door again. Gracie, you only married Ethan to make me regret it, didn't you? I rolled my eyes and ignored him. Liam quickly had no more time to question me. Because even through the door, I could hear Isla yelling at him. Didn't you say they wouldn't have any contact? Why are they married? It's all your fault, you useless, useless man. Liam seemed embarrassed. He coaxed and dragged Isla away, forcing her to leave. Ethan and I stepped away from the security camera. Ethan's expression was complicated. She actually likes me. That's terrifying. I nodded in agreement. Ethan then changed the subject. Good thing you saved me. If you hadn't agreed to marry me, I would have been constantly harassed by that lunatic. I raised an eyebrow. So how will you thank me? Ethan peered out the door, and after confirming they had left, he unbuttoned the first button of his shirt. If you don't mind, I could devote himself to me. He didn't say these words, but I instantly understood. Blushing, I grabbed a throw pillow nearby and threw it at him. Ethan! Ethan slightly shifted to dodge my attack. I glared at him, then turned and went back to the study to continue working. Ethan soon followed me in. He didn't say anything, just watched me quietly. It wasn't until I hit save and turned off my computer that he spoke. Think those two will probably come back. How about we go on a honeymoon trip? It would be a good way to avoid them. I nodded in agreement. Hiding was indeed the best method. Directly confronting two lunatics was an incredibly foolish thing to do. Ethan and I instantly hit it off and immediately booked plane tickets for that evening. By the time the security camera sent another alert, Ethan and I had already landed in the neighboring state. As soon as we landed, Ethan and I went to play a locally famous themed escape room. I had seen countless recommendation posts about it but never got around to playing. Only because Isla said she was scared, Liam had removed it from our schedule. I shook my head, mentally kicking that disgusting pair out of my mind, and focused on solving the puzzles. The escape room wasn't too difficult, and Ethan and I didn't spend much time on it. Everything went smoothly. Until, just as we were about to exit, an NPC suddenly burst out from an adjacent room. I shrieked in fright and instinctively buried myself in Ethan's arms. Ethan, caught off guard, stumbled back and hit a sharp decorative object behind him. He let out a low hiss. Yet his other arm still held me tightly. My heart was pounding rapidly, and it took me a while to calm down. Once we were out of the escape room and under bright lights, I suddenly noticed a small spot of blood on Ethan's back. I gently tugged his hand. Ethan, you're hurt. Ethan took my hand in his, smiling. It's no big deal. A little antiseptic when we get back will fix it. I looked down, searched on my phone, and then pulled Ethan into the nearest pharmacy. As soon as we returned to the hotel, I told him to take off his shirt. Ethan's ears immediately turned red. I can do it myself. I nodded, then handed him the antiseptic and cotton balls. Alright, let's see how you manage that. The spot where he was hurt was out of his reach. Ethan, being stubborn, tried multiple times, always just missing it. Not only did he fail to apply the medicine, but he also made the wound a bit more painful from tugging. Seeing me standing there, arms crossed, watching the show, his eyes darted, and he suddenly cried out in pain. Hiss, I huffily took the antiseptic and helped him apply it. But, being cunning, wasn't satisfied with just me applying the medicine. He'd occasionally let out a suppressed groan of pain. At first, I didn't think much of it and instinctively blew on it for him. But after a few times, I realized what was happening. I deliberately poked a spot where he wasn't hurt. Sure enough, Ethan fell for it and immediately cried out in pain. I put away the antiseptic and cotton balls and looked at him, composed. Ethan. He still didn't sense anything amiss. I poked him firmly on his back. You're not even hurt here, why are you groaning in pain? Ethan's face stiffened, and he honestly replied, I forgot. He cautiously turned his head to glance at me. You looked so worried, I thought I was more seriously hurt. He had originally intended to use this opportunity to play the pity card with me. Who knew it would only be such a minor injury? I found it a bit amusing and deliberately kept silent. Ethan probably thought I was angry about it and turned to explain, but I didn't hit it on purpose. He wasn't wearing a shirt, and as he turned, his abs were directly in my line of sight. For a moment, I couldn't tear my eyes away. Ethan immediately understood. The pity card might not work on me, but the charm offensive certainly could. So, he didn't show much on his face, but from that moment on, he went to great lengths to flaunt his physique. He'd forget to bring his bath towel when showering, or deliberately stand in front of me to change clothes. Enough was enough. On the third day of Ethan's antics, I pounced on him. Ethan got away with it, then played innocent. When I was most drowsy, he leaned close to my ear and whispered, if I'd known you liked this, I should have seduced you 5 years ago. But by the time he said the second half of that sentence, I was already too sleepy to be lucid and didn't hear a word. On the 7th day of Ethan and my honeymoon trip, Liam called again. This time he was cautious, letting someone else speak first. Only after getting my reply did he take the phone. He even deliberately pitched his voice higher, afraid I'd recognize it. He began frantically, "Gracie, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have run away from the wedding for Isla, and I certainly shouldn't have broken your heart for her. Gracie," I cut him off. "Liam, the day you and Isla were kissing outside the room, I saw it, and I heard it." Liam's explanation abruptly stopped. I didn't wait for him, I just hung up the phone call directly. "And then I blocked this new phone number as well." Ethan frowned. "He still hasn't given up?" I pursed my lips. Maybe he regrets it. But what does his regret have to do with me? That evening, as Ethan and I were walking back from our stroll, someone blocked our path. It was Isla. Seeing's hand clasped in mine, her face contorted savagely. "Let go. Let go of him." Ethan frowned slightly, instinctively shielding me behind him. Isla was further provoked by this. She pointed at me and yelled, "Grace. My brother saved you then, how could you abandon him?" Ethan and I subtly retreated, planning to run back to our room while Isla was having her outburst. But for every step we took back, she took a step forward. Eventually, she even tried to lunge forward and grab Ethan's hand. "Ethan, don't be with Grace. She was once drugged, and my brother saved her." I laughed out loud in anger. "And then what? Am I supposed to devote myself to him for saving my life? Even if you two siblings kiss right in front of me, I'm supposed to applaud and cheer? What ancient dynasty was she from, to still hold such feudal beliefs?" Isla shook her head repeatedly, as if I had hit a nerve. "That's not true, Ethan, I didn't. How could I ever be interested in someone like Liam?" No sooner had the words left her lips than Liam's voice came from behind her. "Isla." He stared at Isla, his eyes filled with disappointment. Isla flinched, but when she turned and saw Ethan and me, she quickly regained her resolve. "I never liked you to begin with. If I didn't need you to help me get rid of Grace, why would I cling to you every day? You're useless. I gave you so many good ideas, and you still couldn't do it. Watching those two get married, Liam, I hate you." Liam's face suddenly turned cold. Right in front of Ethan and me, the two people involved, they started to turn on each other. Liam walked over to Isla, gripping the back of her neck, and said through gritted teeth, "You love Ethan so much, so why didn't you tell him that you orchestrated everything, drugged Gracie, and then made me save her?" Seeing Ska's turn increasingly disgusted, Isla quickly explained, "That's not true, Ethan, Liam is just making things up." Ethan pushed her away. "I have nothing to do with you. Don't call me that, it's disgusting." Liam looked at Ethan and me, then at Isla, and spoke in disbelief, "He's not your boyfriend? You lied to me?" Isla's eyes darted away, afraid to meet Liam's gaze. At this point, what more was there for Liam not to understand? He shoved Isla hard. Then he reached out to grab my hand. "Gracie, she tricked me. She said Ethan was her boyfriend, and that you were constantly bothering Ethan, trying to steal him away. So, that's why I approached you, and why I ran away from the wedding. Gracie, I was just deceived. Will you please forgive me?" Ethan kicked him squarely in the chest. "So you drugged my wife? And dared to impersonate me?" I suddenly looked up at Ethan. Liam stared blankly at Ethan. "It was you?" I finally pieced everything together. Ethan was the one who saved me that day, but had impersonated him, and at Isla's instruction, used that excuse to get close to me. Everything stemmed from Isla's lies. I took a deep breath, then turned off the recording. "Ethan, call the police." Ethan nodded and made the phone call. Isla rushed forward, trying to snatch the phone. "You can't call the police, you can't." Liam dragged her back, his smile like a demon crawling out of hell. "Are you scared? If won't forgive me, you won't get off easy either." While the two of them were tangled up, Ethan had already finished the phone call. Isla tried to run but couldn't break free. In a moment of desperation, she picked up a nearby brick and smashed it down hard on Liam's head. As she smashed, she muttered, "It's all because you're stupid, believing everything I say. If you promised to help me, you should have done it." Ethan, afraid she might turn on me, caught her off guard and pinned her arms behind her back. Police sirens soon wailed. Isla pointed at Liam on the ground. "He did it. I didn't do anything." Almost simultaneously, Ethan and I pulled out our phones. "We have a recording here." She said it herself. Isla's face visibly paled. It was late when we returned to the hotel. I finally voiced the question that had been in my heart. "Since it was you that night, why didn't you tell me?" Ethan sighed, a hint of complaint in his voice. "After I took you to the hospital, my mom suddenly fell ill, and seeing you were safe for the moment, I went home to check on her. Who knew that when I saw you again some time later, you were happily trailing after Liam? I didn't know at the time that it was him and Isla who did it, and seeing you so devoted to him, I went abroad to heal my broken heart. Later, Sarah told me that something was off between Liam and Isla. I rushed back as fast as I could, and the moment I landed, I saw you trashing the wedding venue. Sarah was the one who told me she saw them kissing. Then I asked, "What's the deal with you and Isla?" I always felt like there was something off about her. Ethan and I never really had much interaction, yet she had the nerve to claim I was constantly hounding him and ruining their relationship. Ethan made a face like he had a toothache. It was Liam's birthday one year, and she must have fallen for me at first sight. Ever since then, she's been hounding me daily. He went abroad, partly because he was devastated to see me with Liam, and partly to escape Isla's relentless pursuit. I snuggled into his arms. No wonder, after not seeing me for years, the moment you saw me, you immediately said you wanted to steal me away from the wedding. So it had been planned all along. Ethan let out a proud huff. I was originally prepared to quietly give my blessing, but that idiot brought it on himself. He lowered his head and kissed me. But we were always meant to be, a match made in heaven. How perfectly in sync we were just now, both recording. The moment Liam appeared, I sensed something was wrong and activated my phone's recording function. I hadn't really hoped for much. Who knew they'd just keep spilling more and more, until they completely threw each other under the bus. With these recordings, there's no way either of them will be getting out of this anytime soon. What's more, Ethan and I later heard that Isla really did a number on Liam. When saw the situation, how she had kindly adopted Isla, only for Isla to not only use her son and ruin the family's reputation, but then to betray kindness by assaulting her son like that, and then even tried to feign madness afterward to escape punishment, she quickly declared her stance, no reconciliation with Isla, and she announced in the papers that she was disowning her. On top of that, she leveraged the family's influence. It seemed Isla wouldn't have an easy time of it. Watching smug expression, I suddenly remembered all the times he'd said one thing and meant another, and an impulse to tease him arose. I pulled back from his embrace, pretending to take off my ring. "Oh, by the way, you said you borrowed this ring from someone. You should return it promptly." I barely managed to budge it a little when Ethan reached out and pushed it back on. He glared at me through gritted teeth. "Didn't you see our initials engraved inside when you put on the ring? Besides, who could I borrow a ring from that would fit you so perfectly?" I deliberately played dumb. "You said it yourself. Oh, and you also said something about divorcing me once everything was settled." Before I could finish, Ethan sealed my lips with a kiss, cutting off my words. He didn't let go until my legs felt weak. "You believe everything I say?" "Then I also said tonight." The last few words were almost a whisper. I pushed him away, about to walk off. "Absolutely not." Ethan wrapped an arm around my waist, pulling me back. "I don't understand." Eventually, I didn't even have the strength to bite him. I swore that starting tomorrow, I'd sleep in a separate room from Ethan. But no sooner had I uttered those bold words than Ethan demonstrated through action, making sure I understood. That word shouldn't be spoken lightly. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.